Hello, everybody. This is Aurika Savitskaite, the co-founder of helmetbasedventilation.com. And I have a team of experts and professionals and inventors from Bangladesh. And I was glad to see an email from Dr. Tafiq Hassan back in August, where he sent me a paper about his invention of the delivery system of oxygen in the air for non-invasive ventilation. And I was impressed to see great benefits of it. First of all, it doesn't require any electricity. It just needs to have an oxygen tank. And the numbers that you can reach with that system is amazing. So like FiO2 of 95, I believe, percent. And then the flow can go up to 118 liters per minute. And this is where this system can be used with different interfaces, including helmet. And I wanna let Dr. Tafiq Hassan to introduce himself and the rest of the team that we have here on this call.
Hello, thank you very much for having us here. It's really a pleasure. I'm Dr. Tafiq, as you mentioned. So I did my bachelor's and master's in Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology. That's where I teach right now. I did my PhD in UT Dallas, and I actually worked in San Francisco Bay Area at Bosch for a couple of years before returning to Bangladesh. So currently I'm an assistant professor of biomedical engineering here. In our team, we have 4 actually undergraduate biomedical engineering students, Mimnur Rashid, Farhan, Kausar, and Kaiser. I think you can introduce yourselves quickly.
Hello, hi everyone. I'm Mimnur Rashid. I'm a 4th year undergraduate student of the Department of Biomedical Engineering at Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology. So basically in this project, I worked as an R&D student. Like my work is to develop the experimental setup for the device we have discovered or invented.
Thank you, Mimnur.
Hello. Hello everyone. I'm Kaisar Ahmed Elban. I'm also undergraduate student of 4th year and same institute, Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology. I'm also working in this project as a research and development. And thank you for giving us a chance to deliver this project.
Thank you, Kaisar. Right now.
Hello, I am Farhan Muhib. So I am also a 4th year student of Bangladesh University of Engineering Technology, and I am working on the computational simulation site to design our device. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Farhan. And the last.
Hello, I am Kausar Ahmed. Hello, I'm Kausar Ahmed. I am also a 4th year student of Department of Biomedical Engineering, BOET, and I'm working here as a design and research student, and thank you.
Thank you.
So maybe I'll just start the presentation.
Yes, and I want to mention an interesting fact that how small the world is. Actually, Dr. Tafiq Hassan knows very well Dr. Yasir Khan, who you guys already saw it on my website, the interview with him, and he is from Stanford University. So can you tell me a little bit more about how you know each other?
Oh yeah, Yasir Khan, actually he went to UT Dallas as an undergrad, and I was actually doing PhD there, so I know him very well during that time. Afterward, he went to Stanford, of course, and I believe we had some overlap while I was working in California, and then I came back. So, but we still have communication because we have another project on wearable ECG development where we closely collaborate. And on this project, we also had like several discussions on like in the clinical, evaluation in Bangladesh. So yeah, I mean, we know each other pretty well. We speak like every 2 weeks or something.
Yep, that's wonderful. Great minds, when we get together, we make miracles. So again, I'm happy to see you and Dr. Khan actually doing some research for their developed, equipment that can be used for the non-invasive ventilation. So I will let you to start your presentation.
All right, thank you very much. As you just mentioned, we've developed OxyJet. It's a non-invasive ventilation system for hypoxic COVID-19 patients. You already know our team members, but I think we currently who are not here, Saidur Rahman, he is actually a faculty of biomedical engineering. And we also have Dr. Abdullah and Dr. Fuad Galib. They are our clinical advisors. Basically, they helped us come up with this use case, or like basically to understand the need of this non-invasive ventilator, and myself, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So just a bit overview about BUET, or Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology. It's the top engineering school in the country. We have, of course, bachelor's, master's, and PhD programs. It's like really it's very competitive to get in. The statistics are like 0.08% from all the higher secondary grade students. They would usually, admit to the undergrad program. So it's located in Dhaka, it's the capital at Bangladesh, and we are really close to the Dhaka Medical College and Hospital, which is the main medical college in Bangladesh. That's like the top medical college. So this is very good because we have very good collaboration with Dhaka Medical College, and our department is actually new. We started in 2016. So this is our research group. Mainly, we work on biomedical engineering design, wearable systems, AI, lots of different things. We've already have a couple of US patents and some grants and publications already. And this is like a very new kind of project for us, like really, it's a non-invasive ventilator. That's not something we did before. So just to mention some of our awards that we've got so far on the mHealth lab, just the notable ones is one of them here is the ventilator design project that we did first. And others are like mostly computational. And this one is on radiology AI project. I'll talk more about the ventilator project quickly. So just going back to why we started working on this project. So in Bangladesh, we've seen this, like we've in the beginning of the the pandemic, we've all seen this situation where everybody was saying this shortage of ventilators. We need a lot of ventilators. So we kind of wanted to go into that space. But if you look at the WHO statistics, only 5% COVID patients become critically ill, and they need the ICU support. And if you look at the statistics of ICUs compared to US, Bangladesh, we don't have enough ICUs. So even if you have all the ventilators here, it's very difficult, to give the support. We don't have enough doctors, the support staff. So, which is why we kind of, with discussions with our doctors, collaborators, they basically said, we should focus more on like CPAPs and BiPAPs, because that's where we can make, more impact. But these devices are also like, very expensive, even if it's like, let's say $1,000, that's like really expensive for us in Bangladesh. And also some unique challenges here, electric power is not always, reliable, and many times you don't have medical oxygen, medical air. So you only have an oxygen like tank, right? So in developed countries, you have, the medical oxygen supply and also the medical air. So you have both. But if you don't have the central oxygen system, all you can get is the tank, and then you use that. And mostly what the hospitals are doing is they're just delivering low flow oxygen with the nasal cannula. And if they have a high flow nasal cannula, fine, but most of the times they don't, because it's very expensive. That's again like the scarcity of medical devices. It's a worldwide issue. So this is kind of our journey. So in the beginning, we were like really, I would say, hyper, or like we got really, frustrated, like, about, because of the pandemic. And we are kind of, stuck in this situation in Bangladesh. We're seeing all these things happening, but we asked ourselves, like, what can we do? I mean, what we are biomedical engineers, like, we have to do something. So immediately we went on to develop a ventilator. I mean, that's what everybody's doing, right? So we started with like the basic Ambu-Bag design. That's the design available, like the MIT paper and all. And there was like a competition, and we said, okay, let's do that. And then we realized quickly that actually this is not possible to scale up and really do the proper evaluation and testing to really make an impact in the real world. And of course, like, if we're talking about invasive mechanical ventilation, the clinical trial is like too risky. Nobody would approve it. And then we quickly decided to shift to much lower, cost and simpler devices. So the first thing we discovered is like, the bubble CPAP. That's it's a very low cost, solution to provide CPAP. Basically, you have the exhalation limb underwater, and that gives you the PEEP. But it doesn't, give you like, high flow. So it doesn't solve the flow problem. It can give you some PEEP. Actually, so one of our setups we developed, actually, it's already going in clinical trial. That's a different study, but they have like a low flow CPAP. So it's not like a, it's only effective in the first, in the initial stage when the patient is like, not that bad.
Yeah,
So
and
then,
it can be used at home also, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, our system can also be used at home, because all you need is like the cylinder.
Yeah.
Right, and with some training, it can be used. So, and then actually we move on to this, like, how can we solve the flow problem? And then we came up with the jet mixing, or the venturi effect. Sometimes that's what they call it, though not appropriate. So we came up with that, and we realized, like, if we can create this nozzle and it attaches to the high pressure oxygen cylinder, we can like really generate a huge amount of flow. So then we developed our device. So this is the main design. It's actually 3D printed, and the part that connects to the oxygen tank, it has like a standard connector, which is actually made of brass with nickel plating, which is medical grade, basically. So it has like a screw-based assembly. It directly connects to the cylinder outlet. And this is kind of like a simulation figure showing you, like, how it actually basically pulls in the environmental air. It basically, you don't need the medical oxygen, medical air. All you need is the high pressure oxygen, and it pulls in the air. The only issue is that it, if you want to get really high flow, then your FiO2 will go down. So then you will need two oxygen tanks to cover that, right?
Yes.
So this is kind of the whole setup. So you have the oxygen tank. This is our OxyJet device, and this is the device that we are kind of promoting now. So you can see this is where the room air was going in. We'll have like a dust filter, or we can actually use a HEPA filter here so that the virus doesn't go in. And this is the primary oxygen. And if we need a second oxygen, we can connect it here. And then everything else is just like a standard ventilator, breathing circuit. And then you can have a helmet or the snorkel mask. And as you mentioned, it can provide 100 plus liter per minute. But we've optimized the setup where, like, the typical operating setting at 65 liters per minute to balance the FiO2 and the PEEP and everything. Because if you want to go 100 plus, then the FiO2 goes down, and we need, we might not have a couple of oxygen cylinders. but the main thing is you don't need any electric power. You connect it, and it's very easy to use, and it just works. So, and this is how the setup looks like with the snorkel mask. You see, like this part actually goes in inside the OxyJet, like with the screw system, and this is like the nut that connects to the cylinder. Here it is, and you see the breathing circuit, and then the viral filter, and the PEEP valve. So basically, the valve is just setting the PEEP. It's very simple. I mean, you don't have any sophisticated parts here. So all the things you can just buy off the shelf, and you can connect. And there are like similar devices already FDA approved, which is kind of works in the similar fashion. So it's not kind of like out of the ordinary. But the main thing is like our device is really low cost. And this is just like showing some curves that we had during one of our experiments. And you can see like the pressure is kind of course, when you breathe in and breathe out, it kind of fluctuates, but it's on average, it's around, it's 10 centimeters for the PEEP setting. And this is, some of the experiments we're doing with the helmet. We have one, actually, this is, we got from Yasir Khan. He had some here for clinical test. We brought one of them and we tested it. And you can see Kaiser Ahmed here. He was like our volunteer, and he experienced this like firsthand. So he knows like it was much more comfortable, and it was it had a much better seal compared to the snorkel. So one of the problems we were having with the snorkel was that the air was leaking from this region, near the hair, and that's why we have this like the cap. That was kind of helping, but with the helmet, this problem disappears. But the only issue is, I guess, the helmet is more expensive compared to the snorkel. But hopefully, our we want to get this going, and maybe if we get a good grant or something to help us, then it's possible for us to get the best the delivery method, which actually also we will evaluate in our trial. So I think I just, I was going to talk about the trials. So this is just the overview. This is going to be like safety and efficacy evaluation of the OxyJet CPAP. And we are going to have like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 kind of divided, where we first, they require us to do these things. So in the phase 1, we will do some initial testing with the COVID patients, and see which helmet or like snorkel, which one is better, and what is their feeling like, the evaluation or subjective evaluation from the patient, and then kind of decide from that. And also we have to get feedback from the local doctors what they are most comfortable with. And we're going to do that in Dhaka Medical College Hospital. It's kind of, we already submitted the protocol. It's kind of under processing. And the interesting thing is like our clinical co-investigator, he's a professor at Dhaka Medical College Hospital. He's the one kind of leading the clinical trial part. He suggested to like, this is like a big challenge, like to compare the CPAP with the high flow nasal oxygen, because his philosophy is like, because your device can give such a high flow and high PEEP, it should be comparable to that. And if we can show that these are equivalent, so we're proposing a non-inferiority trial. That means, we want to prove that CPAP is not worse than high flow nasal oxygen. And if that actually is established, then that means, you can like make huge savings, because our device overall, it costs around $50, and you can have high flow nasal oxygen devices, up to $5,000. And the cost is like exceptionally high comparatively. So this is kind of like the treatment pathway. So we have the low flow oxygen therapy. If that fails, then you start CPAP, and if it still fails, then you go to mechanical ventilation. This is kind of like the standard treatment pathway. We've done the evaluation in the lab setting, all the tests, and we use the UK MHRA guidelines, and this is under processing. So I think I'm kind of near the end of the presentation. So we are planning to hoping to do like mass production after we really get the approval and see how things go after that. And also we want to open source the design. And we also, I mean, this is kind of more ambitious, like, if we see like this is beneficial, maybe in other developing countries, this might be useful. And as you can see, this device can provide this high amount of flow. We also have plans to, redesign it as like an OxyJet BiPAP, and also OxyJet high flow nasal cannula. These are also kind of possibilities, depending on, the need. But we want to focus on this one first, and this is our the first device. So I think with that, you can ask questions and
Yeah,
comments.
I want to ask Kassar, how did he feel in that helmet when he was volunteered to probably volunteer, or was it?
Yeah, he volunteered kindly. It's kind of like yeah. I mean, I think Kaysar, you can say your experience.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. It was because first time I was wearing that helmet. That I was as we firstly we have trial the snorkel mask, then afterward then we wear the helmet. The helmet was quite good, as sir mentioned that sealing is an important thing for our device, and snorkel was not 100% sealing. That's why we turn for helmet. But helmet sealing was very good. But and we the result and the experiments were going good, but a small problem was that sir mentioned that we cannot move forward because for our country and for other developing countries, this helmet is too much expensive. If we get good result, although we cannot afford it because helmet is very much expensive. No one can in the any our country can afford it. So that's why we have some problem on this. And another, but overall helmet was quite good, as sealing was very much perfect. And wearing a helmet is maybe wearing a helmet compared to snorkel mask are quite difficult, but it can be possible for if trainer can help the patient to wear it, and well, quite good. That was my experience shortly. Mimnur Mimnur was helping me. I think he can add some more.
Okay.
I think the main issue is, as I mentioned, the cost is too high. But hopefully, you can also help us in that. Like if you know about some grant opportunities where we can apply, and at least the results in the initial phase, we have the results. Like if the patients prefer the helmet compared to snorkel, or then that's a good case. So.
Well, the good case is, what's the good case? The good case is, that non-invasive ventilation didn't fail. So first of all, when you say that some device has a high leak, that means you're not able to deliver high quality non-invasive ventilation, positive pressure ventilation. So that's one thing that you want to look at.
Yeah.
Beginning when you choose the interface that you want to use for the patient, because no matter what kind of flow you will have or pressure, right? If it's not what you're setting on, that means the patient is not getting his treatment. So that's why I'm very strong about the helmet-based ventilation, because I know that there is minimum to none leak. It depends on the design of the helmet. And also, especially now during the pandemic, we know that these patients using non-invasive ventilation for very long periods of time. So this is where comfort is very important. And
I can add some points like Kaiser have mentioned, like he was the patient or volunteer who put on the helmet and we conducted the test, but I was doing the test, I was outside and checking if there was any leak. I can say for sure, hands-on the ceiling is better in case of helmet. And another thing I like to add, like using the snorkel mask, patient might feel a claustrophobic or some sort of feeling, but in the helmet system, they have some space around their head, so they do not get the claustrophobic feeling with the helmet. And my only concern was to, as CPAP, it has a very concern over aerosolization, and helmet does the seal better, so aerosolization can be reduced very much. Unlike I can guarantee snorkel mask will be down on the pathway, and helmet can deliver a lot of great sealing and pressurized air. But one thing also has to be mentioned, like using the helmet, the patient needs to be wearing earplugs, or as the helmet creates a pressure around the head, and if the patient doesn't wear any earplug, he might feel pressure inside his or her two ears, so that can be like feel uncomfortable for him. But overall, helmet is a better choice than snorkel mask, I can say.
Yeah, you covered very important points and benefits of the helmet, and I don't know why it is more expensive than the snorkel mask. When you look at the design, it is much simpler. It's it is designed that you can wear for up to 7 days or even longer if you need for the same patient. Also, some of the helmets can be cleaned and reused again. Again, it depends on on the institution who will make that decision. But the biggest issue that people, especially in underdeveloped countries, have is to create that high oxygen and flow that required for the helmet ventilation. So how do you increase the oxygen, and at the same time, how you keep a flow above at 60 or higher liters per minute to prevent the CO2 rebreathing? That can be a challenging. And this is why helmet-based ventilation is, used in the hospital settings. But with your device, I can see it can be applied in so many different places, even transferring the patients in an ambulance or via air, because it is small, like you said, it doesn't require power. So it can be used for these patients. Also, the ones who are, let's say, waiting in an emergency department, and if it's a hospital that has that doesn't have that luxury of oxygen and airflow or BiPAP machine and ventilator that can be connected to the patient right away, you again have your OxyJet connected to these patients. Because what is important is the application of non-invasive ventilation, or the CPAP, helmet CPAP in this case, is the early application. Because if you can put this on a patient early in a disease, early in a respiratory distress, you may avoid the progress of it and a faster recovery, and also avoidance of the intubation. So, this is why I was so excited to see your email with a message that you invented something that can create that flow and oxygen with the cheap device, like you said, $50 cost. Now, I was wondering, when we talk about the oxygen supplementation here, so what usually the oxygen flow from the tank is? Do you have like a table that tells you how you can, adjust the flow based on your needs or patient's needs?
Yeah, we have all the detailed tables. We submitted that in the along with the clinical trial documents. So uh, mm, I don't have them in the slides though,
It's
but
okay. I can add it to the
yeah,
notes.
yeah.
And because this is going to be very useful, you know, physicians, we want to see how much oxygen you need to reach that FiO2 of, you know, 60%, let's say. So
We
yeah.
have actually created a user manual
Mhm.
for the device so that doctors can see the chart and set the flow rate in the oxygen tank according to that requirement.
Yeah, that's amazing, and the doctors will love it.
Yeah, we can share all that.
Now, I really see that you have a nice mission here and make that device open source the design. So again, a lot of people that I'm in contact from around the world, they would ask for like a helmet design or something, and not everyone wants to share their drawings. So again, kudos to you for making that decision, because I feel that's going to save a lot of people around the world. And like you said, it's an easy one to make. So it can be all done 3D printer, right?
Yeah, but one there's like a metal part that we need to use, you know, some other like workshop equipment. But
Okay,
yeah, otherwise it's quite simple.
okay. And so I see you will be comparing the CPAP versus high flow nasal cannula, and this is what I see a lot of other physicians here in US or even in Italy. They are doing the studies where we comparing these two treatments. So I think it's a great decision that you make, guys, to compare these.
Thanks a lot.
Now, I will, do you have any more slides, or can we stop sharing the screen now?
Yeah, I don't have any more, so I can stop.
Okay, perfect. So you already applied for the IRB. Now, when do you expect the studies to be started? And also, is it only with the COVID patients, or you will apply for any patient that has respiratory distress?
Well, according to our study protocol, we applied for COVID patients only.
Okay.
But when we were discussing with an expert on ethical clearance, he suggested that we do like first we do non-COVID patients who has respiratory distress, because his concern was like, if since it's a new device, so if it fails, COVID-19 patients can drastically deteriorate. So so we should start with some patients who are like relatively more stable. But this now entirely depends on the review comments we get from the IRB. And it's going to, it usually takes a month. But let's see. I mean, there were some issues actually. So we first submitted directly to the Dhaka Medical College. But later we have to go to like a national authority of IRB. That's what they recommended.
Mhm.
So it kind of takes some time. So usually 1 month, but I'm not sure. Hopefully 1 month.
Yeah, now, well, this is what I learned during this pandemic, where before, a month or two was not a long time, but now it is a very long time.
Yeah.
And, like you said, the COVID patients, they deteriorate so quickly. And usually in the first few hours from the start of non-invasive ventilation, you will see if this patient is getting better or worse. So it definitely makes sense first to try on patients who have a different pathology for that caused respiratory distress, because, again, you have to learn the new system, and it's not just the OxyJet, but also a new interface like helmet ventilation or the snorkel mask. So But if the hospital has a strong team of non-invasive ventilation champions, I truly believe you guys will succeed, and we will wait for these results to come out as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to mention, like, because you're in the US, I was there for many years, but I can compare, like, in Bangladesh, we have like some challenges, like, we had the idea, like in July, we were kind of like pretty much, we have like a detailed plan, like how we're going to do this, but we had like a lot of challenges, like we want to order the parts, they don't get delivered, we don't have enough, we don't have this adequate testing equipment, like we can make something, but we have to measure all the parameters in the lab. And those were like some of the things that were really delaying us. And and finally we are kind of now in the stage, like we're gonna we hope to get this work, no matter how long it takes. But it is what it is. I mean, in a developing country, you have different challenges which are not present in developed ones, especially when you're trying to develop something new. So yeah, I mean, it took some time. We also feel like sometimes we wish we had this done earlier. I mean, finished all the things, but I mean, all of the team members tried really hard. We tried really hard to, but it was not, most of the things not in our control. So
Yeah, definitely. There are some bottlenecks that you just
yeah.
cannot, avoid. And during the pandemic, the supplies and everything will not reach you on time. Anything else do you want to say to our listeners, or anything that you need help with? Please tell us now.
I mean, once again, thanks a lot for having us, and we're really happy to share our ideas and the development with you and your viewers. I guess I will ask our team members if anybody has anything to add or comment.
All right. I think everybody is being shy. If you're ready, just unmute yourself and say something. So
I think we're all really excited. We were very looking forward to this meeting, and I think I mean I would try to speak for everyone, and of course if something we can think of. I think one thing, of course, we can get help with is if we can get some helmets donated by somebody. That would be a great help, because it's getting difficult for us to we have some sponsors, but we don't have as much, because we are kind of promoting our device as a low-cost solution. And if the helmet is costing us like much more than the device, then it becomes difficult to convince the donors. That's one of the issues.
Yeah. And how many patients do you expect to treat for your study?
In the study, it's since it's like the initial safety and efficacy study, so we started with 40 sample sites, which is like 20 in the control arm and 20 for the experimental arm. So that's but with helmet, I guess you could reuse. So I don't think we need like hundreds right now. But in the future, in the long run, of course, that would be something could be an issue. Like if people are saying if it's too expensive, then
yeah. Well, I hope some manufacturers out there are listening to this interview, and we will reach out to you. All the information will be below this video and also on our website, helmetbasedventilation.com. So I want to thank all of you for being here and meeting and presenting your invention, which I love it. It's simple, it's cheap, and it works. So we will wait for the final results for your study, and then I hope everyone will benefit from it. Thank you, Dr. Tafiq Hassan. And the rest of the team, I'm not gonna name you all again, but thank you, and you have a great journey.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, too. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.